Eurosport wanted to find an average man to take on some of the toughest sporting feats in the world, and who better than myself, a man with an average job, an average diet and distinctly average cycling ability. I'm going to take on Hard Knot Pass, the most fearsome climb in England, with gradients that far exceed the famous mountain ascents of the Grand Tours. With a maximum steepness of over 33% and with long stretches well above 20%, this is absolutely brutal. In terms of steepness, this is just about as tough as it gets on a bike. As not even an average cyclist but an average man, will I even make it to the top? And given a 6-week window to work on my fitness, how much can I improve if I come back and try it again? So this is Hard Knot Pass, goes up to 30%, climbs in sections. It's only a short climb, but this is going to be quite brutal. Here we go, come on now. 30%. Jeez. Already I can feel this in my legs. Struggling to keep in a straight line. Say. Say. Let's give that another go, shall we? I've lost complete traction. My chain's come off. Oh, this is how not to do a climb. I can still see the car park, for God's sake. I knew this was going to be tough. I didn't think it would be this tough. So hard. Oh God, I've got no bike handling skills to go this slowly. Oh God, it's beautiful but horrible. Oh. Heart rate's going down a bit, a little bit flatter. I say that's still pretty steep. Here we go. Finally, a bit of respite before the bit I was most worried about. Oh, Jesus. This is ridiculous. Oh, no, it's too much. That bit's too much for me. I've just got to make it to the top. It doesn't really matter how I get there now. It's too steep for me to pedal, but I'll have to walk this bit, I think. This is just too much. I'm going to cycle from here. I just want to get to the top, at least finish on the bike for me.
Now here we go. Finally got to the top. Not going to break any records, and I'm not very proud of it, but we're here. That could have gone better.
Not even at my worst did I imagine the climb going quite that badly. But those gradients were a different beast to anything I've tried before. Straight from the start, I was right at my physical limit, and it was hard to even keep the bike under control. I've got an awful lot of work to do if I'm going to even stand a chance of making it up here in 6 weeks' time. But first I need to find out just how low a base I'm starting from, and have headed to St Mary's University for a detailed physiological assessment.
The first test you're going to do is a body composition test. So we do this to measure your level of body fat. The reason that's important is because if you're cycling, in general, the leaner you are, the lower percentage body fat you have, the higher your power to weight ratio is. So that means that you can essentially go faster with less effort. So the second test is a submaximal lactate profile. So we do 4-minute stages, and after each 4 minutes, the power output on the ergometer is just gradually increased. I'll be taking a blood lactate measurement after each stage, and what that does, it gives us an indication of your aerobic or anaerobic metabolism. So basically, the more lactate you are producing, the more anaerobically you're working, and that just means that you're working without oxygen. The final test is a VO2 max test. This is just a maximal test to exhaustion so that we can establish your VO2 max, and that is simply just the maximum amount of oxygen you can utilise during maximal exercise. Firstly, when we measured your level of body fat, that's relatively high for someone that's going to be doing an endurance event like cycling. So through dietary modification and also your training, the body fat will reduce, and that will improve your power to weight ratio and also your efficiency. The submaximal test, hopefully after a block of training that you're about to do, we will see an improvement in that you're working at the same power output, but you're using less oxygen, so you become more efficient. And the final test was the VO2 max test. VO2 max is usually scaled relative to your body size. So if your body mass comes down, then VO2 max should improve as well. The fundamental focus for you over the next few weeks, alongside your training, it really is reducing your body fat, focusing on diet.
It's pretty clear from those results that I need expert help, and thankfully I have that on hand from former world duathlon champion and brother UK fusion cyclist Claire Steels.
So the aim of the programme is to increase your power to weight ratio. So that's key for climbing a hill. So we want to increase fitness, which will be difficult, but improve fitness as much as possible, increase leg strength. With tidier nutritional programme, hopefully a little bit of weight loss will come with that as well, and that will give you a much more favourable power to weight ratio. The nutrition will be slightly different to what you're used to. We're going to cut out the junk food, any takeaways, any alcohol, focus on good nutrition that's going to be functional, it's going to help you with your training. So you might feel hungry at times of the day when you're not used to being hungry. The jump up in training is going to feel difficult. You are going to be tired, you're going to have to push yourself, but just trust the process and trust the training and you'll get the results.
Anyone who saw my first attempt at hard knock pass would know that I need a lot of help with my cycling technique. So I've asked Eurosport's Brian Smith to take a look at my climb and tell me what I need to work on.
First impressions are pretty good. It's a cattle grid. Just go over it. Oh, don't turn your wheel. I think that's just an excuse to have a lie down. Well, from his standing up, he's obviously carrying a bit of weight, like most of us. So for a first effort, I think he failed miserably, but there's loads of room for improvement. What Tom needs to do is probably drop the front end a little bit, raise the saddle at the back and maybe put it a little bit further back, and that will give him a better position when he's sitting down pedalling. But the main thing is, on the steep parts of the climb, when he's getting out the saddle, he needs to move the bike, and that way he'll transfer his weight, which is quite a lot at the moment, to each pedal, and he needs to learn how to do that. It doesn't come natural for a non-cyclist And one thing that's important about a climb as hard knots is the gearing. Start off with the small gears and keep it in these small gears. Pedalling cadence is key to getting up a steep climb.
The training regime that Claire has provided is pretty full on, with 6 or 7 big sessions per week and regular additional core work each day. On average, I'm spending around 5 hours a week on the turbo trainer, working on overgearing and interval sessions to improve my leg strength. Plus, there's regular gym sessions and 8 hours a week at least on my actual bike. It's fair to say that week 1 was a bit of a shock to the system, and it didn't exactly help that my first big ride ended abruptly when a bit of wood got caught in my wheel and sent me flying over the handlebars. I suffered a bit of whiplash and some concussion, but nothing more serious, and was soon back on the bike. Reducing my calorie intake so dramatically really impacted my energy in the second week in particular. But it's amazing how quickly the body adjusts, and I felt increasingly strong as the schedule went on. After 6 weeks of brutal hard work, this is where we find out if an average man can really get fitter, or if all that hard work was in vain.
Looking at the body composition change, there's been a huge improvement in that in such a short space of time. So within 6 weeks, your body fat is significantly reduced. So around about 9% reduction there, absolute level of body fat has come down. And that's really positive, not only from a health perspective, but also performance, particularly in cycling. So when you're climbing up a hill, that means you're carrying less load, so therefore it should be relatively easier. In terms of the exercise test, your submaximal markers of fitness have improved. One of the markers we use is blood lactate, and we use lactate thresholds to determine fitness levels. So the first one, the lactate threshold, and the second threshold, the lactate turn point, have both improved. And that means that you're producing less lactate within the muscle at the same power output as you were at before. Also, your heart rate response is lower. For instance, in your first stage, the heart rate is around 10 beats per minute lower than it was when you're doing the same power output on your last test. Indicates that your cardiovascular fitness and efficiency has also improved. So taken together, your submaximal fitness is improved alongside a large drop in body fat. That means that your performance should improve.
Obviously, I'm delighted with those results, but will it translate to any noticeable improvement on the toughest climb in England? The daunting task awaits me. Hard Knot Pass, take 2.
That's an improvement already. Oh, technically it's just so hard. It just drives on and on and on. There's so much. Legs are burning. Oh God, so steep. I'm in so much trouble. Oh, so much better than last time though, already. So we're onto the bit that feels flat and really isn't. Look at 8, 9, 10% in places. Here we go. Oh God. Well, this is so much better, but some tough stuff to come. Okay, 33% coming up. No, 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 oh, no. Oh, I'm gonna be sick. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that's so hot. Oh. Oh, oh, Jesus. I'll get there. I was going to be sick. I might be fitter, but that not enough for that. Oh, let's carry on. If I can clip back in. What, man? Beyond me. Well beyond me. Right, let's try again. Come on, clip in, clip in. There we go. Oh, say, just keeps on going. Oh. Yes.
I've smashed my time, and I have to say I'm delighted with that. I've only gone from an average man to a slightly less average man, but the improvement in my fitness and cycling ability in just 6 weeks has been really amazing. However, even with all of that work, I still couldn't make it to the top without my feet touching the ground. I gave that absolutely everything I had, and still I'm light years away from being a good cyclist. It really puts it into perspective just how hard this sport is for an average man.